situation.
True or false, Norvell must win his final 2 games to keep the job? Question mark. If he loses to NC State, that's 3-13 in his last 16 ACC games. If he loses to UF, that's 2 losses to interim head coaches this season and 2 versus UF in his career. Very disappointed in FSU's lack of finality on fired or not in late November.
That's why I'll just go back to it. I'm not saying it should or shouldn't happen. Make the decision after NC State. I just loathe the thought of a Florida game, let's say it's 5-6 Florida State versus 3-8 Florida. That dictates Florida State's future. Come on, man. One game, one dumb game.
But you're saying that NC State does then.
I know.
That's the problem with your
I know.
thing there.
I know.
He just prefers it be NC State, who he loathes less than Florida.
Well, also, like, yeah, I guess. Yes, I think if he loses NC State and goes winless again, I would be done with it. There's no salvaging. A win over Florida doesn't salvage anything, is what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't salvage. Why would that salvage your career?
NC State does, and then a loss to Florida?
I think it can kick the can down the road, and then you just say, man, who cares about this stupid Florida game? You're in a bowl. You tripled your ACC wins. You tripled your wins overall.
You know the fans care much more about beating
Florida. But also the timing of it. It's also the timing of it. Like, National Signing Day is the Wednesday after the Florida game. You're gonna wait until Sunday, December 1st, to decide if Mike Norvell is going to be your head coach?
Well, this is what we were saying earlier in the show, that when you didn't fire him after Stanford, if you were going to keep him because you didn't want to pay the money, the play was to announce you were keeping him.
Right, but
then the bottom could have fallen.
Yeah, the bottom fell off.
There's no good answers here, man. They're in a situation where there's just no good answers.
But if you wait till the Saturday after the NC State game, that is 10 days. That's a 10-day runway to get somebody in here and try to get a staff together and get a class salvaged.
The class is fine. Like we just saw, they have like 30 commitments almost. I mean, the class hasn't fallen apart.
I'm saying if you fire your coach, it might fall apart.
We'll see. Honestly, I just think because the way it works now, all these kids, they already know what their financial package is going to be. I don't know that you're going to just decommit and find out what somebody else is.
Does that happen when a new coach might be, I don't want that kid. I'm not paying him that. Well, I mean, that's why I'm saying but it doesn't necessarily mean they're all going to leave. Wouldn't it behoove them to have a little more than 2 days or 3 days? It could be 10 days, gives you a little more option. So I just think the timing of it would be better. One way or the other, the timing of it would be better. And also, I don't think it behooves anyone to, if he does come back, because they get this big road dub in Raleigh, that for 9 months we talk about, like, no, Florida State doesn't take itself seriously or is a joke. I don't believe that. I do think they think he can win here. They might be foolish in that, but I do think they can win here because, again, look around the country. There are teams that have never won that are winning.
And they don't want to spend the money.
Chris says, is it just me or are all signs pointing to Norvell coming back right now and that the university's fine with mediocrity? Well, I think it does look that way. Yes, it does look that way.
I would say that
he'd have to lose both these games, we think, right?
I think he just has to lose Friday night. But I think let's slow that down a little bit about Florida State being okay with mediocrity. They are maybe being financially reasonable and realistic. You're not
going to want to fight this fight all summer because this is
I know.
But
that's what I'm saying. Like, we can't keep doing this.
And it's not mediocre. They suck.
Well, right. but again, it's like
6-6 is by definition mediocre.
2 of the losses, 2 of the wins, you didn't even count. So they're 4 wins. And then secondly, they lost to Stanford. Get the hell out of here.
They beat Alabama. Great win.
Again, the challenge is what the challenge or the decision that they have to make is what's it going to cost to get rid of Mike Norvell and what can we get in his place?
Yeah.
That's the question. And that's the part that everybody just assumes you're going to be able to get the perfect coach.
Well, but no.
Well, if you don't, and you owe $250 million on the stadium, $150 million on the indoor facility, and now $60 million on a coach.
Yeah.
And then 2 years from now, you have to buy out the next coach.
And if he sucks again next year, you're going to owe pretty much that same sum.
Man, again, that's not.
But maybe
he
doesn't
come from somewhere.
Maybe it doesn't suck.
I get that. We know they could get the money. I think it's far less about having a guarantee. There isn't going to be one.
I agree.
There is no guarantee.
But somebody you feel great about.
Big-time college football.
There's somebody you feel great about. That's what you don't know. And then maybe they do. Maybe they don't.
Yeah, I don't know who that would be because they're not going to get Kiffin. They don't want Kiffin. They didn't get Franklin. Who would it be that you would feel great about?
You wouldn't.
There isn't anybody.
I think that's why when they're making the
But I know what this is.
Well, you don't know that if you get a better roster, you don't know that Mike Norvell.
That's what I keep trying to point out.
How many years would he have to be bad before you can say, I know he's not a good coach at this point? How many years? 5, 6 years you could suck and we're just going to, well, no, wait a minute.
I look at a team that lost 3 games for sure that they easily could have won.
Yeah,
so it's not like it's a disaster.
It's not like an outlier.
I agree, man. I'm just saying that it's not like it's a debacle. If it was a debacle, yes, I think they would do it. But I think that they feel like he can get there, or at least good enough that where it's not worth that money, and they can't replace him with somebody better. Again, man, like everybody would want a better coach. I'm sure the people that are making the decision would want a better coach.
Yeah.
It's just, what's it going to cost? And how confident are you?
We agree. It's clearly the money. Yeah. It's clearly the money because the 3-16 or whatever we want to cite ain't it. He's not winning. You don't need much more evidence. He's not winning.
Yeah, but again, I would point to, like Ira keeps trying to point to, you fix this with a roster and all of a sudden Mike Norvell looks like a competent coach again. Like, again, that's you can't just sit there and say in 2026 that Florida State can't be good with Mike Norvell as the head coach.
No,
you can say
you base decisions on what is happening over the course of a 2 full season sample size.
But you admit
it's not
they're
like
better.
It's willy-nilly.
Well,
I mean,
I get it.
No, they're not good.
You're right, of course. But also, that does not mean that they won't be good next year.
Right.
And it is a huge financial burden.
Oh, it comes back to that.
Right.
That's
if
what
it
this
was
is
a $10 million buyout,
the money.
So when you say you're
money, that doesn't mean that Florida State is okay with being mediocre because they don't want to spend $50 million on a wild card pick.
That's the difference. When people say you're okay with being mediocre, that's like saying you're okay. I mean, you're fine with it. You're not fine with it. It's just, man, there is some cost benefit analysis.
Yeah, and so to me, what the message it sends to the fans is that, look, they don't have the money, and if you assume they don't have the money, then it feels awful lot like being a second-tier program because you wouldn't put up with this if you had an option. If you thought that you could just make a change, start anew, there are no guarantees, admittedly, but we're in the business of winning big-time football games. Every investment they've made in the last 40 years suggests as much, and this is not to the standard, so we have to move on. And when you don't, because of the money, then you don't get taken seriously.
Until you win.
That's unfair. You may think that's unfair, but that's the way. No,
I don't think that's unfair.
When Auburn's paying off 4 different head coaches at the same time,
but they take it seriously. They take seriously. I don't take Auburn seriously. I don't take Florida seriously.
No, I'm not taking Auburn seriously.
Well, then who cares who gets taken seriously?
No, I'm saying that you are not in the business of wanting to be taken seriously at this point if you won't make a change with this.
I don't care if you get taken seriously at all. I care about them being a good football program again, and I'm not 100% convinced that Mike Norvell can't do it. I'm getting there, but I'm not 100% convinced.
You were already there.
No, I know. But
you were already there.
I thought he should have been fired. I don't think that means that 2026 with a new quarterback and a new roster that they can't somehow, in some miraculous fashion, compete for an ACC championship that's about to be played between Virginia and Georgia Tech.
Right. This was the easiest year in the world to be a part of what could be an ACC championship, but you couldn't get it together.
Right. But that doesn't mean that
there's not a single good team in this conference.
Miami,
maybe.
Miami's kind of good.
What is Georgia Tech going to be next year? But how paid is Brent Key going to get paid based on what Haynes King did?
Who knows?
Georgia Tech's going to be taken seriously.
Tony Elliott hadn't won anything until they bring in the 6-year quarterback who's got them
Mike's
success.
efforts to find, evaluate, develop, and put a good quarterback back there is on display.
I'm with you, but the point was, if you get a good quarterback, can't that change everything? And because you sign, but the point is you're having to pay $60 million.
Again,
Whereas if you get the right quarterback, maybe you don't have to spend $60 million to go 8-2.
I'd rather spend $5 million on a great quarterback than $50 million on a guy not to coach.
You're trusting that this guy who has had this much trouble with quarterbacks is going to get the right guy in here and coach him up, and we're going to be great.
Hey, man,
I'm trusting
he saw
that
the light in Jordan Travis.
If you have the right quarterback, then I don't think he's the problem.
Yeah, but what gives you the idea that he's going to find that kid?
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Looking at the structure of your program and having somebody help in the personnel decisions. Again, you would say it's propping it up. I'm like, well,
whatever
the reality
takes.
is you owe this money.
Yeah.
And there might be a better path is all I'm saying.
Money better spent than bringing in Alex Golish.
I'm
what I mean?
Even saying that.
Or Willie Fritz.
No, there isn't a guy that anybody's going to jump up and down about.
That's the problem. So you're paying $80 million to maybe get better.
Well, it'd be hard-pressed not to be better, Corey. If you look at the record in the ACC the last 2 years, there's only been one other team worse than Florida State in the entire conference.
I know. They've been unlucky. That's why NC State. That's why NC State is such a big game, gang. That's why NC State's the one.
Again, this is not Ira's plan or what I think should have happened. What I'm saying is there is another side to it, and that I don't think it's fair to say they're just idiots. They don't care. That's not true.
That's a really, I think, a really bad brush to paint with. Florida State just spent all that money on everything around this program, and got that guy to keep him here from going to Alabama. They care more than almost any program in the country.
No, what I was reading a question and telling you don't want to do this fight in the entire summer because the vast majority of the fan base echoes Chris's sentiment that this is being allowed to stand and rewarded.
I think it's our responsibility, though, to present the fact that there is other information.
It's not that they're happy being mediocre.
It's the money.
But
let's just say that it's the money.
But that doesn't mean you're happy being mediocre.
Oh, people aren't whistling around the halls at going 6-6.
Florida State's goal in 2026 is to be 6-6 again. That's not what they want to do.
Yeah, of course, it's not what you want. I want to win the national championship next year, but we have realistic discussions about what's possible based on the evidence before us. If you tolerate it over a certain period of time, it's okay to say about those people that they're not serious. You would understand where a fan would think that. That's all I'm saying.
With a better quarterback, a better passing quarterback, do you win the Virginia game?
Oh, you could go through every one of these, but you did lose the Stanford game, and you did go
well, and
last
also
year, and you did.
The counter to that is why did you have to bring in Tommy Castellanos anyway? That's all on Norvell too.
That was a marriage that they decided to go with.
No, but also you didn't have anybody here to play the quarterback position either, and that's all on Norvell.
And that was the point I was making earlier. Like, I don't want this guy making a decision on a quarterback. He's failed across the board.
Yeah.
He lucked into Jordan Travis, and that. I mean, we hit before and after.
This is the problem. Neither one of us think Mike Norvell has done a great job this year and deserves to keep his job at all. We are kind of arguing, though, why Florida State might want more than anything
and it's
for
the
him
money.
to win
all
these
I'm
games.
Doing is making it abundantly clear. It's the money. And then that is going to make people feel a certain way.
But as somebody that's been doing this show now for 15 years, we know that Florida State does not accept mediocrity, and they're not okay with this. There is an extenuating circumstance with an enormous payout.
Yeah.
That has to be part of the calculus when you're talking about this.
This is where Florida State gets hurt by the fact that they don't have Penn State money. They don't have Notre Dame money. They don't have whomever, Auburn money, I guess. I mean, they don't.
Especially when they just took on $400 million.
Because if they did, there's no way that you would watch this and say, I'm cool with it.
Right.
So when the other programs do it, it makes you feel less than. That's how they. That's how people are going to feel.
Don't judge yourself like that, you weirdos. You're Florida State fans. Don't feel less than.
No, but you're seeing my point, though, right? That's when they watch other schools do it and not tolerate it and are quick to act. They go, I guess we're not in that same class.
Does that work for those schools? Does it work for Florida? They don't tolerate anything, and they've been in the woods for 17 years looking for a new coach and still looking for one.